Hey students, greetings to all of you. Hope you are studying well and I hope you seen till the last video, right? Till the chapter number 7. So if you not, don't worry, relax, everyone has their own pace. You can at your possible time look that video, check out that video, listen to it completely, then practice the practice manual and go through the revision test papers and write daily one answer and you'll be ready for ISCA. Okay, then so today we'll be doing the last chapter, chapter number 8 of the paper number 6 ISCA paper. So let us today start and complete this chapter number 8 as efficient as possible. Okay, so for the PDF that I'm using for the taking the sessions, this one is available at 50% off. The link I've given in the description box below. The same PDF what you're seeing on the screen will be available to you once you do the payment. You can download it. Okay, so without much delay, now let's get started. As we all as we generally do, first we go through some certain MCQs, and then in between we revise certain important topics of the so-called last day revision notes, and then again we come back to the MCQs. In that manner we do the toggling between these two parts and complete chapter number 8, right? So like saying that, let's get started. Okay, now let's start the MCQs. First one, what is the similarity between grid and cloud computing? So what is the similarity between both of them? Speed, storage, computational power, multi-tenancy and multitasking. So speed, storage, computational power differs in these both kinds of technologies, but they both have multi-tenancy and multitasking. Okay, so this is the answer, right? Yeah. Next one, different between different instances of SaaS. So software as a service, what are the instances? We have cash, dash, pass and task. What are these things? Let us once again see the full form of these things. Okay, if you can see here, the different instances of SaaS are TAS, testing as a service, API as a service, then email as a service. So if we see the answer here, it is the TAS is the right answer, which is the instance, a variation of SaaS. Then service provided by the infrastructure as a service. What is the service given by the IAS? So if you see, once we need to revise the large division, let us try with basic understanding of this thing. First, it is talking about infrastructure. So infrastructure means the storage capacity, how do you draw, how the networks are connected, the wires and everything, the load balances, all the physical, the tangible stuff is what is called infrastructure. So if we see, the service provided by IAS includes which are the following: load balancer, storage, database, network, load balancer and database, network, storage, database, load balancer, storage and network. So almost all are similar, very similar kind of thing, but infrastructure as a service provides the services for load balancer, storage and network. Let us once see the last day revision so you can get more clarity on that. If you can see here, see the infrastructure as a service, what are the question asking? The different services provided by the IAS. What does differences provided by it? It provides these things. It provides the compute, storage, network, load balancer, web access to resource, centralized management, elasticity and dynamic scaling, shared infrastructure and metered service. So in these things we had load balancer, network and what do we have? We have node bus network and storage. So we don't have anywhere the database. Though infrastructure word can include a physical form of database, but in general, in technical point of view, database means a cloud platform or a storage space where we can store the electronic data. And how it is managed is taken care by the database manager. So everything will be stored in a big CPU kind of thing. So CPU is not a database. In the part of it is a database. So IAS provides the things for load balancer, network and storage. I hope you got the clarity now, because very similar is the options here. That's why we need to be very confident and sure shot of the side headings. That's why I always say revise the side headings and then go to the practice manual, then complete revision test paper, do write daily answers. It will be very easy to clear the exam. Then, cloud computing model that provides data on demand to a diverse set of users, systems, or applications is called Dash, which provides data on demand. So, since the term one we have is data on demand, so we can say data as a service is a cloud service model which provides data on demand. Then, which of the following is not security issue related to cloud computing? A cloud computing among the four which is not concerned with security issue. Integrity is related to security, right? Availability, of course, high scalability and governance. So if we see the things here, if we slowly understand, integrity, availability and governance deals with security of the data. The data must be authentic, system must be authentic, system must be available, there must be proper governance controls on the system and structure. But scalability means the increase in the use of availability of system as and when the demand increases, and reduce the size if the demand decreases. This scalability is not related to security, though the control feature is regarding the availability of the cloud service on demand, that is not concerned with security. Okay, then dash refers to technology that allows transmission of data via computer without having to be connected to a physical link. Without connecting to a physical link, what is the name of technology that will allow us to transmit data via a computer? So that technology is called as, come on, please make a guess. That, yeah, exactly, that is called as mobile computing, because in mobile thing we don't connect to any LAN WAN, we directly on the, we get the net and we transfer the data to a computer source. Yes, and then comes the objective of green computing is to, what is the objective of green computing? Reduce use of hazardous material, exactly. Maximize energy efficiency, yes. Promote recyclability, yes. All the above is the objective of green computing. Then which of the following is not an advantage of BYOD? In bring your own device. This among the four is not an advantage. First, happy employee, it is advantage. Strong IT budget, yeah, of course it will take okay, sorry, have, the question is which of following is not an advantages. So having a VYOD, what it will have, it will help in happy employee, exactly. Stronger IT budget, maybe. Increase employee efficiency, exactly, because he knows his system well. Early adoption of new technology, yes, employee will be very eager to adopt new technology because it's his own system. But stronger IT budget, the thing of what happens is that this is not advantage of BYOD, because in having the own device, though the hardware thing gets reduced, but the necessity to have good security infrastructure to bring all systems into visibility in the on the net, so these costs will be very high. So only the device cost may be reduced, but maintenance and any damage happens, the risk taken will be very high. Then which generation of the World Wide Web is 2.0? World Wide Web is which generation technology? It is first generation, it belongs to first generation. Then the facility used by the people on internet can congregate services from multiple vendors to create a completely new service. It's called as dash, it is called as floxonomy. Means what is he saying here? You suppose, for example, cab drivers, every different cab drivers are congregated by who are providing various cab services. They are congregated into one, let us say, one mobile application saying some travels, and many vendors are there in that, and they provide a completely new service. Let us say they provide intercity tourism. So like for suppose you belong to Hyderabad, all cab travelers or cab holding service providing people may congregate as, say, some tourism company with the help of a website, and they cater to the needs of those people who want to see entire Hyderabad. So the service is called as Floxonomy. Then which type of technology is used by Web 3.0? That don't go and say modern technology, we use data web technology, means database website are congregated and combined together, we use in Web 3.0 web data web technology. Then dash ability to make use of unused computing power, and thus is a cost effective solution. So those resources which are not being properly utilized or underutilized, they can be used by organizations for other purpose. So resource available usability is done to the maximum efficiency of the resource. So that ability to make use of unused computing space is called as dash, is called as grid computing. Okay, in the last division let us see what is the difference between cloud and grid, but as of now this unused computing power is taken care by grid computing. Then dash provides a facility to access shared resources and common infrastructure, offering services on demand. So among the four computing thing, which provides a facility to access shared resources, means people who are using two three resources together, so these things can be it provides facility to use them, and also use a common infrastructure, so that whenever there's a demand over that work for the particular infrastructure to perform an operation, that resource will be made available to these persons. What is this called? This is called as cloud computing. So cloud computing, what it will do, it will provide the service and enable the people to access the resources which are shared commonly, and enable the users to use common infrastructure, so that whenever there's a demand to perform any operation, that particular resource is made available to the existing user. So unused computing power is taken care by grid computing. Available resource being allocated efficiently is taken care by cloud computing. Okay, then in cloud computing, the consumers need not own the following. What does it not own? They need not own any hardware, software, or any infrastructure. Everything is owned by the cloud. They pay for what they use. Okay. Then the dash of the cloud solution is the structure of system which comprises on-premise and cloud resourcing services, middleware and software components. So what is it saying? In the cloud, when you are designing a cloud computing thing, so it has many components. So it will include on-premise and cloud resource services, middleware, software component. What is that called? That is called as cloud computing architecture. Okay, in cloud computing, protection depends upon having dash. So here always understand that in the technical INSCA paper or general where there is a concept of development of any software or any mobile application or even web applications. Application means an app. Okay, so we always need an architecture, means a proper design of how system goes for and how the system is inbuilt, how the information flows. Everything in architecture is defined. So right architecture is required for developing right application. Okay, it is not a right architecture for right appliance or for assignment or direction. Always an architecture is needed for having a right application. Okay, so in cloud computing, production depends upon having right architecture for the right application. Then private cloud managed by third party is called as, of course, you're outsourcing the stuff, so it's called as outsourced private cloud. Okay, then a high level of security and privacy to the user is available with step of cloud. High level of security is always available in the private cloud. In public cloud, it is somewhat less secure because accessible to everybody. Hybrid cloud has minimum level of security and community depends upon the community there. So private cloud has a high level of security and privacy to the user. Then which order is correct in terms of cloud having strict security from high to low? From high level of security to low level of security, what is the order? So first one would always be private one has a high level of security. Then comes hybrid because it is a combination of it no then hybrid, it comes to the community because community, it is a group of people having common interests, therefore that has a bit good level of security compared to the hybrid. And hybrid is a combination of public and private clouds, therefore the level of security, though it is available, it is still not that secure. And public cloud, it is accessible to everybody, therefore it has less secure thing. Therefore in terms of strict security from high to low, it is private, community, hybrid and public. Next, no single company has full control over the whole cloud. Which of the cloud features this is very applicable for the four: public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, community cloud. In private cloud, the organization itself has the entire control. Public cloud, no one has that. Okay, then hybrid cloud, there is a combination of public and private partnership, but still a level of control is maintained. But in community cloud, we'll have there will be several companies having common interests, therefore no one can have a full control over the whole cloud itself. So there will be a control but not a full control, therefore this line, no single company has full control over the whole cloud, is applicable for community cloud. Okay, then dash changes the computing from physical infrastructure to a virtual infrastructure through virtual computing, virtual storage, virtual network, everything from abstract to physical resources. So among the PaaS, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service and software as a service, among these three, which one changes from physical infrastructure to the virtual one? So that is the infrastructure as a service. So it provides the infrastructure services where it converts the physical thing to the virtual level for storage, computing of resource and network resources. Okay, then dash provides back-end storage for the virtual images. Some of the infrastructure as a service providers also provide the backend for storing files. So which among the following which will provide the backend storage? So in infrastructure as a service, we have a storage as a service, so it provides the backend storage for the virtual images. So this one, option C, will form the part of the answer. Then dash provides virtual networking components such as virtual router, switch and bridge for the So here the virtual network components such as virtual router, switch and bridge for the virtual machines. So which one of the in all the four, like platform as a service, network as a service, storage as a service, software service, among these four which provides this components for which works as a virtual router, switch and bridge? It is the connection thing. It's talking about the providing connection between networks. So network as a service provides the virtual thing for the for the virtual machines in the infrastructure service component. Then Dash allows network architects to create virtual network services card, virtual router, switch, other networking components. So again the same question is coming back. So which among the four will help the architect to create virtual components in the for the purpose of networking? So whenever the networking component come, it is the network as a service. It provides the network architect to create these virtual networks. Then Dash provides the virtual storage. Again the same question, when once it comes storage, storage is provided by storage as a service, which is a part of infrastructure as a service. Okay, then uh, so yeah, Dash is ability given to the end user to access the database service without need to install and maintain it on a pay-per-use basis. So the user has ability to access the database without the need to install the database or its related components into his system. So when he is given the ability to access the desired information from the database on pay-per-use basis. So these things relate to the features of having database as a service. Then the services such as a user management, push notification, social network service, integration using custom software development kits, and application programming interface are available in Dash. So it's something a big thing. So here the what the services are mentioned, like user management, then trying to manage the user of the system, then giving availability of push notifications, then having social network services, all these things. So we are trying to develop and customize a software development kit and application programming interface. So these regarding development of the software component. So what are among the four can help in availing this service here? So we have backend as a service, storage as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. So here it's talking about managing the user, giving push notification. So not about storage. Okay, uh, not about even infrastructure also. Okay, then we have backend and platform as a development. Only just by looking at the word custom software development kit, so it is providing a kit for development but not a whole platform. So even eliminating the last three, only the backend as a service will help the user to receive the services of user management, push notification, everything there. Okay, Dash provides a variety of business service to startup companies that include ERP, CRM, billing, sales, and human resource. So these services are given to a startup company. So who among these things are giving these following services? So if we see ERP software, customer relationship management is a software, billing, sales, human resource managing is done by software. So here is giving the service to startup, it is not developing these things. That's why platform as a service and infrastructure as a service and backend as a service will not form part of the answer. So this software as a service will form part of the answer. Dash provides user with software testing capabilities such as generation of test data. Okay, so what is providing software as a service, software testing capabilities by providing test cases, execution of test cases, and knowing the results. So since it's providing the ability for the user to test a particular data and function of a particular component, so testing as a service form part of the answer. Dash allows user to explore functionality of the web services. So what's available? It's giving the user to understand and explore the functionality of the web service like Google Maps, payroll processing. So you are trying to understand and explore the functionality of particular software. So API as a service. So this artificial programming interface as a service will help the user to understand the functioning of the web services of the components. So till here we have completed almost 30 MCQs. Let us go back to last day revision paper and then see few important topics in that. Let's do a small revision, like quick revision of few important topics from LDR, because almost we have seen till 30 MCQs. So let us come to the last day revision book. Okay, so what is grid computing? The grid computing means the computer resources in the most organized generally we know is not used to the full extent, right? So such underutilized or non-utilized resources are combined into a specific network or a grid so that it can be used by those people who need it. So grid computing is a network of computing or processor machines managed with a kind of software such as middleware in order to access and use the resources remotely. The managing activity of the grid resources through middleware is called is called as grid services. Grid services provide access to control, security, access to data including digital libraries and databases, and access to large scale interactive and long term storage facilities. So all unused underutilized resources are coordinated, are kept into one, and then it is given to those needy organizations who want to use it. Then what is cloud computing? Cloud computing simply means using of computing resources as a service to network. So you will be using the computer resources with the help of network as a service there. So is generally used with the help of internet only. So cloud computing is both a combination of software and hardware based upon the computing resources delivered as a networked service. Okay, so here in cloud computing is very benefit for small and medium scale enterprise because grid computing is mostly used for those organizations and areas where there's a huge amount of data. Okay, then what is the differences as similarities between cloud and grid computing? Both are scalable. Okay, both involve multi-tenancy and multitasking. Okay, then storage computing in the grid is suited for the large data intensive storage, but for a small as 1 byte and as large as 5 GB can be stored in cloud. Okay, then the computational grid focuses on computational intensive operation. So grid focuses on the high level of operation, whereas cloud is for normal and mid range of operations. What is the goal of cloud computing? This can come for 4 marks. Okay, so the goal of cloud computing is to create a highly efficient, which one? Highly efficient IT ecosystem where resources are pooled together and costs are aligned with what resources are actually used to access services and data from anywhere, anytime. To scale the IT ecosystem quickly, easily, and cost effectively based upon evolving needs. As when the needs increases, you will increase your need for the IT systems there. Then to consolidate IT infrastructure into more integrated and manageable environment. To reduce the cost related to IT energy power consumption. To enable or improve anywhere access for ever increasing user, and to rapidly and to enable rapid provision resources as and when needed. So simply saying, the main benefit of cloud is to always provide the resources to the user as and when he needs, depending upon his requirement. Okay, then what is cloud computing architecture? Cloud computing architecture is a cloud solution, that is simple terms to say it is the structure of the cloud system which comprises of on-premise cloud resources, services, middleware, software, and the geolocation other components, visible properties of the cloud, and relationship between them. So cloud computing architecture is total structure of the cloud involving its location, physical components, tangible things, software, hardware, everything that is used for building a cloud. Okay, then a cloud computing architecture consists of front end and a back end. So front end is what the computer user sees, how it looks like to the user interface. Back end is actual cloud where the working happens there. Okay, then other thing which we need to understand is that there are different cloud computing models or cloud computing environment. So what are the different varieties of them? They are public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, and community cloud. What is public cloud? It is used for general public, means any person can access the cloud for getting the services done. Okay, so it is not restricted to particular people. Okay, it's not restricted to a particular company. So these public clouds are administered by third party, mostly taken care by some vendor who's been hired for maintaining the services, and it is given pay per use mode. So how much you use, that much you can that much you have to pay. So then business models like software as a service and public clouds mostly complement each other, means software as a service is, for example, if you take any photo, you will upload into a particular website for getting getting special effects on it. Okay, or you approach a particular website for doing some changes to your PDF. So this kind of services is a business model, the software is providing it, but where is the software? It is in public cloud to get the access. So it is, you can say software as a service is similar to one of the similarities are there with the public cloud. So what are the characteristics of public cloud? Characteristics are highly scalable, highly available, yeah, it is less secure, okay, highly affordable, and stringent SLAs, means there is uh, the service level agreements are very strict in the public cloud. Now, what are the advantages of public cloud? The advantages are widely used in the deployment, development, and management of enterprise applications. Okay, and allows the organization to deliver highly scalable and reliable applications. So the public cloud helps us in development, deployment, management of the company's web or mobile applications at very affordable cost and helps them to deliver high scalable reliable application. Then no need for establishing any infrastructure for setting up for maintaining the cloud. Everything is taken care already. Strict SLAs are followed and there is no limit for the number of users. But what are the limitations? First thing, security, privacy and organization autonomy. No one has a particular command on the cloud. Then comes private cloud, opposite to public cloud. Here the cloud computing environment is within the boundaries of an organization. Okay, means the cloud is particularly developed and used by particular organization only. It has proper controls within them and primarily IT departments of that enterprise takes care of the development of the cloud. So it is managed, it is not managed by third party, and unless occasionally if these people outsource it, but generally managed by within the organization only. What are the characteristics? It is secure, yes. Central control means only the organization maintains it, and weak service level agreement means there is no strict agreement among the users of the cloud, because users are people belonging to the company itself, right? Okay, then comes what is the advantage of private cloud? It improves average server utilization and allows usage of low cost servers, because the cloud is used by the internal people only for the company, so low cost servers can be used. And then comes provide high level of security and privacy to user, and small in size and control can be easily done. But what are the disadvantages? Budget can be fixed, because though we think it is small, we don't know the budget it requires and can the organization afford that. And then comes loose service level agreements. What is hybrid cloud? It is a combination of both, at least one private cloud and at least one public cloud, and this consists of like generally the hardware infrastructure platform belong to public and security is that of the private thing. Then a vendor has a private sorry what are the characteristics of hybrid cloud? It is scalable, of course, because yes, it is the nature of public cloud, right? So it is scalable, it is partially secure, stringent SLAs and complex cloud management. What are the advantages of hybrid cloud? It is highly scalable and gives power to both public and private clouds, and it has better security compared to public cloud. And what is a community cloud here? Community cloud is a cloud infrastructure which is provisioned for exclusive use by a particular community or particular form of consumers, so it can be owned, managed, operated by one or more of the organizations belonging in that community. What are the characteristics of cloud community? There is collaborative and distributed maintenance and partially secure and cost effective. What are the advantages? It allows establishing low cost private cloud, allows collaborative work on the cloud and sharing of responsibility among the organization, and better security than public cloud. What are the limitations? Autonomy of organization is completely lost. Okay, we don't have any particular command on that. Some security features are good but not all, and not suitable in the case where there is no collaboration between the organization using the community cloud. Okay, this is the different type of clouds there. Then what are the cloud computing service models? Because what is a model? Service model means it is the method or it is the network thing from which it provides a particular kind of service. So what are the different kinds of cloud computing service models? We have first infrastructure as a service, then we have platform, sorry, in that again we have various instances. Okay, and then second we have platform as a service, then we have software as a service. Okay, and there are other cloud service models. Infrastructure as a service again has in inner categories in that. Okay, so what is this infrastructure as a service? It is a hardware level service providing computer resources to the user. So it is the service of providing, let us say, the memory power, processing memory, storage, network for cloud users, etc. So this will allow us to maximize the utilization of computing capacities without having to own any of the own resources. So IaaS provides offers computers more of the virtual machines and other physical resources as a service. Okay, then the end users or IT architect will use the infrastructure as a service in the form of what? The form of virtual machines, design virtual infrastructure, network load balances based upon the needs. Okay, so it's simple to understand. The physical form of the tangible elements are converted into virtual applications where they can be used in a remote manner. Okay, then comes a typical. What does a typical infrastructure as service may provide? It provides the following services to the user. It provides computing, storage, network, load balancing, web access to resource, centralized management, elasticity and dynamic scaling, shared infrastructure, metered service. What are the different instances of IaaS? Means what are the different varieties of the infrastructure as a service? We have network as a service, storage as a service, database as a service, backend as a service, and desktop as a service. So what we can say here in the network as a service, here it is a category of those cloud services where it has the capacity to provide networking and transport connecting services. Like the network as a service involves optimization of resource allocation by considering network and the computer resource as a whole. So they'll see the network capability, network requirement, the computer resource requirement, both these things are matched and network connection is being given to the user. So here we need proper data communication, and it is mainly used for the instances where there is a large download of data or large traffic it should be controlled on the network. So here the services generally provided by the network as a service includes virtual private network, bandwidth on demand, and mobile virtual network services. Then we have storage as a service. It is also a part of the infrastructure as a service where we provide the storage infrastructure on subscription basis. Means the way you want to store the data, you pay the rent for the space and store the data. So it includes storing on multiple devices, backup maintenance, mitigation of risk, and preserve records for long-term use. So we need not buy many storage devices for storing our data. You can just enter in the cloud, pay the rent for the space being used, and store our data. Then database as a service. Here this is also one of the part of infrastructure as a service where we use a mechanism to create, store, and access database at a host site on demand. So we create a database in another virtual cloud center, and we store our data in that. The earlier one, storage as a service, is using some other space as a rent, but this here we are creating our own space. Okay. Then backend as a service. Here this is in this here what we do is that we the developers connect the web and mobile application to a backup site where the backend is where the data is being stored, and always this backend is very important for storing many information developed by these developers. Okay, and it also has other services like user management of the database. Okay, here user management means, try to understand what happens in the backend as a service. In the backend as a service, we try to store the data which is used for running the application. So that how to be used, how the notification must be available, social network services, and other custom software development which needs to be done so that the user can use the mobile apps or web application. This thing everything is taken care by the backend as a service. Then desktop as a service. Here it is such that the end user uses desktop virtualization without buying and managing their own infrastructure. So here in the DTA, desktop as a service is a paper mode used with the cloud service is delivered model in which the service provider manages the backend responsibility for data storage and backup, and the end user responsible for securing and managing their own desktop images. So the desktop as a service is place where you try to work on the system as if you are using the software as if it is on your system, but actually it is not on your system. The software, all the components useful for working on the desktop is available on a cloud. Okay. Then platform as a service. Platform as a service provides user the ability to develop and deploy an application on the development platform provided by service provider. Means here the developer develops a software application as if he is developing on his own site, but he is renting the space to develop an application. The cloud service provider provides the computing platform including operating system, programming language, execution environment, load balancer, etc. So here for developing a particular software application, what all is needed is given here. Then a typical, as I just said, the typical platform as a service provider provides programming language, application framework, databases, testing tools, software, everything required for developing a particular application. Okay, then what are the characteristics of platform as a service? We have all-in-one, everything is available on one platform. Developer service, web access to development platform means you can use the internet to see how your developed thing is working. Offline access, you can use the platform even without connecting to internet. Built-in scalability, collaborative platform, and diverse client tools. Then what is software as a service? It is also one of the cloud computing models. Okay, here we access a large variety of applications over the internet hosted on the service provider infrastructure. Just I give an example in the beginning, right? Like we use a PDF editing software on the internet. So these are the different software applications available on the net which we can use after taking the service. For example, even photo editing softwares. Okay, so the end users are exempted from managing any of the software application. Everything is maintained by the cloud. Only we use the services given by software in the cloud. What are the other services provided by SaaS? It provides business services, social networks, document management, and mail services. Like we just have email management, we have document like Google Drive, we maintain document management, we have social network connectivity and business services. Then what are the characteristics of SaaS? We have one to many, one software for many users, web access, it can be used with the help of internet, and then centralized management, multi-device support, better scalability, high availability, and API integration. Okay. Okay, Then comes in the software as a service, like how infrastructure as a service has other varieties of it, like software as a service also has varieties of it. What are the varieties? Testing as a service, API as a service, and email as a service. So testing as a service means it provides the capability for system to generate test data and execution of the test, confirm the test, see the test result, analyze the test result, etc. Test evaluation is also possible there. Then we have API as a service. This allows user to explore functionality of the web service like Google Pay Map, payroll process, etc. How the processing being done is can be seen through this software. Then seen through this cloud computing model. Then comes email as a service. It provides integrated system of emailing like office automation, records management. Like you can see even Google has Gmail has vacation mail also. So those things can be done through email as a service. Then comes other cloud service model. What are the other things other than this? Infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and uh, software as a service. Now we have communication as a service, data as a service, security as a service, identity as a service. In communication service, we have we will it is similar to software as a service, but here it is outsourced to enterprise communication, where they take care that the enterprise always have a seamless and good quality of communication, both hardware and software. Okay, so you can see like generally a particular vendor takes care in the big organizations takes care of the hardware components of the communication lines, including telephones, fax, xerox. Nowadays fax not available, but still printer, all these is how they are how they are connected, how the communication is being done in and out of the organization is taken care by this cloud service model. Then data as a service includes data on demand to diverse set of users or systems. The data may include text, image, sounds, etc. So data encryption or securing the operating system and authentication of the data is commonly taken care by data as a service. Then comes security as a service. It is ability given to the end user to access security services provided by service provider. So it is a new approach. Generally what happens security, we have firewall, we have quick heal antivirus. So not only quick heal, many things, antiviruses, firewall, or even certain applications to prevent hacking in our website. So those things, it is this facilities are given to the end user by the cloud in the service is given by security service provider through the cloud service model. So here it is a new approach where this entire security of the organization is moved into the cloud, so that before any data or any request comes from anywhere to system, it passes through the cloud and then goes to it. Then identity as a service is the ability given to the end user of the organization or enterprise to access the authenticate information that is built, hosted, and managed by third party service provider. Means what all security information the people access, the logs, the data, the password, login ID, everything is being maintained of the organization is maintained on a particular is hosted on a particular cloud, in which the request whatever received is verified through it, the identity is confirmed, authenticated, and then access is being given. So that is identity as a service. Then what are the characteristics of cloud computing? The major characteristics of any cloud computing is high scalability, agility, high availability, and reliability. Okay, multi sharing. Then we have virtualization, services and pay-per-use mode, performance and maintenance. Then what are the advantages of cloud computing? What are the major advantages? There are cost efficiency, almost unlimited storage, backup and recovery, automatic software integration, easy access to information, and quick deployment. But what are the challenges? Everything comes with challenges, right? We have confidentiality, integrity, availability challenge, then governance, trust, because we know we have trust on the service provider who is providing it, legal issues and compliances, privacy, audit, data stealing, architecture, identity management and access control, incident response, software isolation, and application security. Then what are the implementation adaptation issues? Generally why do we have certain issues in implementing adapting a cloud? We have threshold policy, interoperability, hidden cost, unexpected behavior, software development in cloud, and environmentally friendly cloud computing. So these are the implementation adaptation issues in cloud, for the cloud computing models. And then before going to mobile computing, let us go back and see the remaining MCQs. Okay, it is saying Dash provides the user with an integrated system of emailing, office automation, record management, migration, integration services with archiving, spam, malware protection, etc. So what is saying? Emailing is talking email. So what we can say, as per system is talking mostly about email and backup things. So we can say email as a service is the exact right answer here. Then Dash allows business to selectively deploy communication devices and modes on pay-per-view. So it is talking about communication. So when the word has come, you can easily grasp the answer: communication as a service. Then in Dash, data encryption and operation system authentication are commonly provided for security. Data encryption and operating system authentication. So you can say when data is being encrypted, so and operating system has data in it, so this thing provides for diverse set of users and also include text, image, sound. So what will include? Data will include. So data as a service will form part of the answer. Then Dash is a new approach to security in which cloud security is moved into the cloud itself. You have just read it. You have just read it. I hope you can make a guess of the answer. Yes, security as a service. Exactly. Security as a service, you can say, or even this can also form part of the answer for it. Yeah. It is not identity as a service. Identity as a service will come only when you are able to authenticate the information of the user. So here the answer is security as a service. Then what mechanisms of cloud security that are currently provided? Email filtering, web content filtering, vulnerability management, and identity management. The cloud security provides all these things. So A, B, and C will be the answer. Then Dash is the ability given to the end user, typically an organization or enterprise, to access the authentic information that is built, hosted, managed, and provided by third party. So we are giving the ability to authenticate the information is given by authentication means verifying identity. So identity as a service will be the answer. See how easy it once you study. Dash includes directory services, authentication service, risk and event monitoring, single sign-on device, identity and profile management. So again comes identity and profile management. So identity as a service will be the answer. For the information need this what are the definitions of IAS, NAS, TAS, BAS, DBAS, DTAS, PAS, SAS, TAS, APS, ES, SAS, CAS. See how wonderful names we have. Then okay, then prevention of unauthorized disclosure of data is deemed as. So prevention means, what you can say, prevention means confidentiality. You're not allowing the things to go. Integrity means the content is not changed, available to the information available, but confidential deals with unauthorized disclosure. You'll get it even in audit paper also this bit. Dash refers to prevention of unauthorized modification to data and ensures the data is high quality, correct, consistent, reliable. So prevention of unauthorized modification. Modification comes with integrity, right? Good. Just now we discussed that thing. Strong data integrity is the basis for which service model? So we need strong data. Strong data is needed for generally I think all. Even infrastructure needs a strong data. Platform as a service needs data. Software service needs data. Everybody needs data. Data is the heart and blood of the information technology, right? Then okay. Dash has some ways to preserve integrity in data in computing, cloud computing. So cloud computing, you want to have integrity of the data. We can have digital signature. Yes, signature. If you tamper it, it will not give you. It will encrypt the document. You can't see it. Then redundant array of independent disk strategy. Yes, even the RAID strategy where you can have an independent disk for each of the categories, so that these both things will and an electronic signature. So digital signature and electronic signature, we don't have anywhere called electronic signature. We have digital signature and we have digital signature certificate, but not electronic signature. So these two, both A and C, will form the answer for the ways to preserve integrity of cloud computing. Then Dash refers to the prevention of unauthorized withholding of data, and it ensures the data backup through business process continuity and disaster recovery planning. So Dash refers to prevention of unauthorized withholding of data. Prevention of unauthorized withholding. Unauthorized withholding means unauthorized you are accessing the data. Means data should not be made available to unauthorized people. So availability refers to that aspect. Okay. GPRS stands for, we always say GPRS, right? For when we go through in our Ola or Uber also, right? So GPRS stands for what? Stands for General Packet Radio Service. It is not rapid service, it is not radio surplus, it is not general phone radio service, it is General Packet Radio Service. Okay, following is not a sustainable green computing plan. So this is not a plan. So develop sustainable green computing plan is a plan. Make environmental sound purchase decision is a plan. Increase paper consumption, it is not a plan. Conserve energy is a sustainable plan. So increase paper consumption is not a sustainable green computing plan. Come on, which of the following does not come under conserve energy policy? So in conserve energy, what is it? Develop a small client strategy. Okay, use of the power management features to turn off hard drives and displays after several minutes of inactivity. After some minutes of inactivity, it must turn off. So it is conserving energy. Employ alternative energy resources for computing workstation, server, network, and data center. Yes, employ alternative energy. It is a conserve energy policy. Adapt to more of web conferencing offers instead of traveling to meeting and go green and save energy. It is a conserving policy. Develop a small client strategy is not, because generally we must have a large client, mostly a medium sized one, so that resources can be effectively utilized. Small clients will always lead to numerous use of resources in many times, and that will not lead to efficient conservation of energy. Then uh, yeah, the lack of device visibility and loss of devices are are which risk in BYOD policy. In BYOD policy, we are unable to see the risk, we are unable to trace the risk. So generally device risk, A and C, between A and C one must be the answer. And loss of devices, we can't see it. So device visibility comes in network. So yeah, visibility comes in network. So we have again in sorry, lack of device visibility and loss of device. Loss of device relates to device risk there. So we have device risk in where we are having in A, B and C we have devices, but this comes in second place. So remember, second place is loss of device, so this the device risk is second. Okay, the lack of device visibility comes in network. So network risk and device risk are the answer. B will form part of the answer. Just be very careful. Just because we have device, we identified it to be network and device, don't interchange and take the answer. Okay. Then a dash is a journal, diary or a personal website that is maintained on internet and updated frequently by user. Updated frequently is always done by blog, because it is taken care by user only. A dash is a set of correlated pages on a particular subject and allows user to share the content. Wikis, of course I gave the answer here. It is the if you see the definition, what is this? A wiki is a set of correlated pages on a particular subject and allows user to share the content. The dash is a facility which helps the user to send their media files and share content online for the people of the network to see and contribute. So you are trying to share your photos, everything online. So what is that thing? It is file sharing and podcasting. It is a facility which allows the users to send their media file and related content online for the people of the network to see and contribute. Then a dash is a facility by using which people on the internet can congregate services from multiple vendors to create completely new service. It is mashup. Mashup is a facility by using which people on the internet can congregate services from multiple vendors to create completely a new service. Okay, now let us get back to mobile computing. What is mobile computing? It is a technology that allows the transmission of data. For example, if you send on your to an email, okay, and you suddenly want to access it when you're outside in the market or in your office, then you can use the Gmail on your phone, right? Is it not the transferring the data from one place to another into your system on the cloud to the Google and then back to your email on the phone? Is it not in sync? So this technology refers to the transmission of data via computer without having to be connected to a physical link. Then mobile data communication, if you remember, long time, maybe in 2005 or somewhere, we used to have a wire LAN connection for internet where the lights used to be flashing, and now it went to the pen drive kind of dongle, and now it became completely Wi-Fi based thing. So we don't have any more of that physical connections there. So mobile data communication has become very important, rapidly evolving technology that allows users to transmit data from remote location to other remote location. So the mobile service allow the workforce who are moving continuously to update the data, to update the information, to know the other needs, access the data. Everything is very possible because of mobile computing. And then comes the components of mobile computing. What are the components of mobile computing? Mobile communication, mobile hardware, mobile software. And how does it work? That first what happens, the information gets transferred from device to site and files gets updated. Then both systems are in sync and user gets the same data information on both the areas. What are the benefits? It provides a mobile workforce to access the data remotely, enable the salesperson to update the data, facilitate the access of corporate services anywhere. We can remotely access to corporate knowledge, not only corporate world, even the day-to-day activities can be seen instantly. Even more shopping people go and show the things required on the mobile, right? Then enables us to improve management efficiencies by enhancing information flow. So we need not wait an executive who goes outside of a marketing, come to the office and then give information. He can give instantly while once he comes out of the client place or any place, right? Then limitations of mobile computing: insufficient bandwidth, security standards. Yes, power consumption will be more because battery power won't be long lasting much. Then transmission interferences, potential health hazard, and human interface with the device. Now what are the issues of mobile computing? We have first a security issue, like we have confidentiality, integrity, availability, legitimate data, accountability, bandwidth, and location intelligence. And we have other, like we have technical architecture issues, power power consumption, reliability, integration with legacy mainframe and other applications, end-to-end design performance issues, and business challenges. So these are faced by the mobile computing. Then what is green accounting? Sorry, green computing, not green accounting, is green computing. Green computing or green IT refers to the study and practice of environmentally sustainable computing or IT. The objective of green computing is what is it means to have a sustainable use of IT, not just rapidly using the computer resources and just making a dumping e-waste. So we should avoid that. The objective is to reduce the use of hazardous material, maximize energy efficiency during product lifetime, and promote a good and better recyclability at the end of the life of the product. So how can we develop a green sustainable green computing plan? We can involve all the stakeholders and include their checklist ideas, recycling policies, and they follow the government recommendations, etc. Then encourage the community to use the best practice for while you are disposing of an computing resource. Both there should be communication and commitment to develop a green IT policy by all organizations, and we must also include the policies for power usage, power reduction, paper consumption, equipment and recommendations for new equipment and recycling of the old machines. And the use of cloud computing should be so that the multiple organizations can share the same computing resource. Like I like use the grid computing or cloud computing, where you can use the unutilized underutilized resources by many organizations, and we can reduce the consumption of uh, IT articles in the environment. And then how to what can we still more do? First, in the green computing best practice, we can develop a policy. Then we can take initiative for recycle, means for recycling follow the recommendations given by central and state government. Then discard the unwanted electronic equipment in a convenient manner so that it does not emit harmful radiation. Everyone must follow at the manufacturer's guidelines which he has given for the end of the life management of the particular computing device, and recycle computers through manufacturer's recycling process only. Then what can third can we do? We can do make environmentally sound purchase decision. First we did in green computing practice develop a sustainable green computing plan. Next we did recycle. Next we need to do a good purchase decision. So purchasing the desktop computer or notebook or any hardware must be done with keeping environment in mind. Take that which emits heat very less. Take those devices which will radiate less. Okay. Then provide a clear consistent set of performance criteria for design of the product. So when you're making the designing for your particular product, have a standard set so that the criteria must be met by the manufacturers. Then and also you must recognize the manufacturer's effort to reduce the environmental impact of the product, and try to uh, eliminate sensitive material which can affect the longevity of the product. Then use server or storage virtualization that can help to improve resource utilization and reduce energy cost and simplify maintenance. So try to use resource as much as possible. Then we can, for the green practice, we can do reduce paper consumption. We can reduce paper consumption using email, electronic marketing. We can do track changes using software, not by taking printouts and red pen. We can use online marketing rather than paper based method. We can do printing of the document on both sides of paper to use less amount of papers. Then and another thing what we can do to go green, we can do conserve energy, like we can use liquid crystal display. We can develop thin client strategy. We don't have slim client, we don't have small client, we have thin client. Then we have notebook computers, we use the notebook thing rather than desktop one. Have power management feature that if you don't use it goes to sleep mode. Okay. Then power down all CPU when you're not using for a small extended period of inactivity. Then try to do computer work in all in a one span when there is a large usage of resource, but and other times you can leave the computer off, like for example 9 to 5 should be when you should do all works related to computer. Then power up and power down energy intensive peripherals. Okay. Then employ alternate source of energy for the computer and workstation, and use mostly web conference rather than traveling to the meeting. So that is regarding the best practices for having green computing. Then we also have a policy called bring your own device, BYOD. What is this policy? So this policy refers to a business policy where the employees are allowed to bring their own devices to do the office work. So this will reduce the office cost in using new devices, and the employees are very comfortable using their own device and they can upgrade well. So what are the advantage? Happy employee, lower IT budget, reduces IT reduced support requirement, early adoption of new technology, and increased employee efficiency. But what are the third? Network risk, means people all devices are not covered within the network, so we don't know who is working in the system, who is not. Okay. so we don't have the visibility of the device, and practically we can't provide any updates to system. Then device risk, we don't know if the employee loses his device, then a lot of the corporate data is being leaked. Then we have application risk, like generally this risk is exemplified and hidden as application of virus and malware, but a report says that the majority of the compute employees systems are not having any proper protection of antivirus, so we don't know what kind of virus or infection or infestation can come into our network. Then we have implementation risk, like we have weak BYOD policy. If the BYOD policy is not good, then we have no proper controls, then we can't have an efficient use of the resource in the organization, right? Then what is Web 2.0? This is one thing you need to understand. Web 2.0 is a term given to describe second generation computers, that's the World Wide Web, and it basically refers to the transition from static HTML to more dynamic web pages. So the major contributors of Web 2.0 are the two: Ajax, asynchronous JavaScript and XML, and other application like really simple syndication and Eclipse. These all three support the user interaction and empowerment of the Web 2.0. Then what is the most significant thing is that Web 2.0 offers large amount of collaboration of the people on the internet, and people can share the content, deliver the share their voice notes, podcast, everything. And it is not just read only web, but also it is a read write web, means people can even read others data, can even share their content also. Okay, then what are the components of Web 2.0? We have communities, RSS generated syndication, blogging, and wiki. Okay, then what is folksonomy? It is a free classification of information available on the web. Means here what happens, it is used to this classification information is done such a way that whenever the term is particularly tagged, okay, the users can classify and find the information based upon the tagging. Okay, it's also called as bookmark, for example. So bookmark folder is not it is generally a tagged page where you can generally find the thing which you have bookmarked to happily go back to that page because you have marked it. Then what is file sharing and podcasting? It is a facility that enables the user to send their media file and other content to online to other people. Then the most important thing, what is mashup? So mashup is a facility in which people on the internet, they congregate the service of multiple vendors and create a new service and provide service to the other customers. For example, congregating all the cab drivers to perform a cab service, all hotels to give an OYO service, kind of thing. So this kind of congregation service and providing as a new service also involves using facilities of other applications and other service providers like Google Map, etc. So this is about mashup. Okay, so what are the types of social network? Generally we have social network regarding studies, police, army, military, fine arts, sports, specialist group, doctor, mixed media, everybody. So there are different kinds of social groups and networks which people which are generally form a group, and for the benefit they try to implement all these technologies to collaborate and share. Okay, then what is the life cycle of a social network in Web 2.0? In Web 2.0, first we need to have a need for having a social network to communicate. Then we identify a set of people who want such kind of community to happen. We create a space for social networking, like develop pages, create business page or website, and then conduct regular meetings, interact with other networks of similar kind. Then achieve, once you get your go to your goal, you have important discussions on topic with everybody. Then you achieve your goal and then share the goal with all the people in the group. So this cycle, it is simple, like knowledge or content sharing on the internet. We generally do in a very smooth fashion, like upload a photograph, upload a video, but this is the process that takes place behind it. Okay, then what is applications of Web 2.0? We use social media in marketing and education. Then lastly, we have Web 3.0. It is a higher version of the Web 2.0. It uses a semantic web technology, drag and drop mashup, widgets, user behavior, user engagement, and consolidation of the dynamic web content. Okay, it is considered as a next logical step in the evolution of internet and web technology. So Web 3.0 technology uses the which technology called uses data web technology. okay, in which the data records are publishable on the web through queryable format. Means you type the question, you get the answer. That's what we are happening now. So it uses mostly in the, it is equipped with the field of artificial intelligence also. So typical web 3.0 example is that the that one that uses content management system with artificial intelligence. So content management means like knowledge management thing, where you try to store the data, and depending upon the key inputs, the system gives you the answer or related information to you. Okay, Web 3.0 helps to achieve more connected, open, and intelligent web application using the concept of natural language processing, machine learning, machine reasoning, and autonomous agent. Means Web 3.0 gives a more upgraded version of the web, where the website will run on its own, have the intelligence to run the application once you and use natural language processing. Suppose if you take to Google and click the mic and say some word, it will give you the things related to that. So that is a natural language processing, machine learning. Like for example, you are seeing an ad regarding gifting of chocolate. You visualize a 5 website, and now you go to YouTube or Facebook. Automatically, you will be directed to know to show you the ads related to chocolate. So this is the the machine is learning as to what are your preferences and what are likes and dislikes. Depending upon it will be showing the available options on the internet. So that is the way how Web 3.0 will be working. Other two components of Web 3.0 are semantic web and web service. So semantic web means a web user on the common framework, it can share and reuse the data across various applications. So when you have data on on Google Chrome, for example, you can share it on any number of applications without any problem there. So this allows the data and information to be readily intercepted by machines, so that the machine can take its own contextual decisions. Then other component of Web 3.0 is web service. It is a software system that supports computer to computer interaction over the internet. So semantic web allows the user to get the data across all the platforms, and web services will enable us to enable the interaction between computer to computer on the network. So totally this is the chapter number 8, my friends. So this we will be completing, you can say, the entire revision of chapter number 8, and this will be the last video for all the revision of May 2021. Next we'll be having the MCQs given, recent MCQs given by the ICAI, followed by case studies given by the ICAI recently. So this will be covering in the upcoming videos. Till then, kindly revise the entire, listen to the entire video, revise the practice manual, do the 4 atoms RTP, keep on writing, and just don't lose your hope. Okay, so till then, happy learning, all the best.